Hello there. The Diorama Workshop is strong with the Force, a place where creativity and craftsmanship bring worlds to life. Subscribe now, and may the Force be with you.
For a complete list of available decals, blueprints, and tutorials, visit dioramaworkshop.com and select Speed Index from the Tutorials pull-down menu. For as little as a bag of Doritos, you can help support my channel and art by joining my Patreon family today. Not only do you get cool perks including full access to every video in the live stream archives, but you can save up to 60% on all PDF decals, blueprints, and SVG files over at my Etsy shop to help you save big time when building my dioramas in your own home. I want to thank my gold patrons Chris Jones, Ron Passion, and Darth Revenge for sponsoring this video. Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. Today we're doing accessory number 3 for the red docking bay control room, and what we're doing is the closet. Now, the interesting thing about this is that it comes in 2 parts. Now you have the closed door option over here that you see when the stormtroopers first enter the room and C-3PO and R2-D2 are hiding inside. Then you can pop it out and have the reveal of the inside with all the details, just like in the movie. The version that you want to display in your diorama is up to you. Are you ready to build? My name's Frank Diorio. You're watching dioramaworkshop.com. Here's everything you need in order to build your closet. You need some black Foamcore, black poster board, the decals and blueprint downloads, little piece of high gloss black vinyl, pencil sharpener, ruler, cork back is the best, 1/4 inch rubber grommets. You need 16 of these, and then you also need 8 3/4 inch cup hooks. I like the white coated plastic over here because you don't have to paint it for the diorama. X-Acto knife, X-Acto pen, X-Acto blade refills, 10 of these large curve bendy straws which has 11.5 centimeter curve extensions, black Sharpie, 4 regular straws, white acrylic paint, black acrylic paint, a little container for your paint, a small fine paintbrush, scissors or fiskars, glue stick, hot glue gun, hot glue refills. In order for you to get my decals and blueprints, go to my website dioramaworkshop.com, go to the tutorials menu, scroll down to the speed index, then find Star Wars A New Hope Death Star Basic Closet, click on decals. This opens the decal page with the preview of all the decals in the PDF, and then finally the link over here to the Etsy shop where you can add to cart and instantly download. Return to the speed index, now click blueprints, scroll down, you'll see the preview of the PDF, and click here on the icon that brings you to the Etsy shop, add to cart, instant downloads. If you want to save an instant 10%, return to the home page, click directly here on the Etsy shop link, go to the search, closet, and find the full kit purchase over here that brings you to the add to cart, and you receive all of the decals, all of the blueprints at a 10% savings. Grab your X-Acto knife. You could use scissors if you prefer for this step. This will go faster. Now we'll start with this section. We want to protect this. These are templates that go on Foamcore, so I'm just going to cut along here. This is just rough that we're doing for the moment. Now this will go in the Foamcore pile. This is also for Foamcore. Make sure you don't cut into this because that is your final skin. This goes into the pile of Foamcore. Now we just want to cut along this yellow square here, just like this. This is for your assembly. Put this one in the pile for after construction. This goes into the Foamcore pile. Page 2, cut along here. Put these 2 in the poster board pile. This in the after construction pile. Page 3 is your optional closed door. Now, if you're not doing a closed door, we can skip this page. If you are doing a closed door, you want to apply all of these onto Foamcore. So this will go in the Foamcore pile. Page 4, the same thing. These are all for Foamcore, so we don't have to cut any of these for the moment. Page 5 is complete Foamcore as well. No cuts on here. Page 6, this side center spine over here and these spines at the bottom to be on Foamcore. So we're just going to cut this off like that, and then just go up in between the two. Put this in your Foamcore pile. This is poster board, this is poster board, this is decal skin that you will apply once this construction is done. So you just need to take this over here, keep your center panel cutting guide with this piece so that you know how to cut it later. So this little section goes into the after construction pile. This goes in the pile of poster board. Page 7. These are skins that you will be placing after construction. Cut along in between the black and your pale gray over here. Now cut this here. Chop this, this. Put this in the Foamcore pile. Cut along here. This almost touches to save on paper, so be careful not to cut into here. Same thing on this side. This goes in the Foamcore pile. This goes in the after construction pile. Page 8, we want the dark over here to be on poster board this time. This is Foamcore. Remove this first. These go in the Foamcore pile. This is very close, so I'll use the ruler here just for this line between the two. After that, I have more space here to play around with. And here, just join it. Put this in the after construction pile, then remove this over here. This goes after construction pile as well. This one goes on your poster board pile. Page 9, same thing, is the mirror version. After construction, Foamcore pile. Poster board, after construction pile. Page 10 is our top pieces. Cut along here. Foamcore pile, after construction pile. Poster board pile, and after construction pile. Page 11, the mirror, Foamcore, after construction, poster board. Last page 12, straw wraps, is after construction because you're applying it directly on the straws, so you don't need to cut this at the moment.
We interrupt this video for a special announcement from the Empire. Have you clicked the like button yet on Frank's video? Well, what are you waiting for? Only 1 in 10 people click on it. The Emperor is not pleased. You shall double your efforts. We shall wait.
Do you know what's going on? Maybe it's another drill.
Awesome. Thank you. We return you to your scheduled programming.
Okay, let's start with the poster board. It's thinner than your Foamcore. It's just like you buy at the dollar store. Now let's just do a quick dry run, and then it'll give me all this other cardboard for another project. You want to grab a scrap piece of Foamcore like this. This will allow you to place it at the base of your decal over here. You'll be keeping this lifted so that it doesn't touch the surface over here. And as you let this fall down, you'll be moving your scrap forward in order to remove all of the bubbles and make a smooth contact on the entire surface like that. If you're using regular paper and not decal sheets like I am, then you'll apply some glue stick on the rear before applying it onto your poster board. For me, I prefer decal sheets because it gives you 100% coverage of contact. Peel, apply here, lift this up, take your scrap, let it come down. Then press down with your fingers to make it even stronger contact. Next up is this one. Carefully peel this, align this, and make sure the top here is not touching. Carefully make it go contact here. Take your scrap and then press it forward as it moves to the end of your decal. Make sure there's no bubbles. You can press harder. There we go. We have all our poster board pieces. I can just trim this off over here. Put this aside for now. Let's grab our foam core, do a dry run like we did on the other. This scrap is not wide enough to reach the whole sheet. This scrap works better because it's larger than the width of the paper. You'll be able to do a clean, flat application. Start by peeling this. Let it touch only at the bottom. Move your finger along the bottom. The rest is pulled upwards. Push this against your foam core. You're going to slide it forward. And as you do, you'll see that your sheet will start coming down, and you just let it fall just like that, and you should have a clean application with no folds or bubbles or creases. Now the door frame, because we cut out the center here, it could move inside. You want to keep it perfectly square as it was meant to be. So when we apply it, we're going to apply it from here, and then we're just going to let the pieces fall down normally. So peel, be careful not to tear it because you have two pieces here. Then peel this, place this over here. Try to let these pieces stay up. Move your finger across, grab your smaller scrap, and then just let it fall normal. Do the same thing for this side. Now you can apply pressure. So we have all our decals placed on our foam core. Now we're just going to do rough trims around the pages, and then we'll go and start cutting more into details. Now in no particular order, you're going to grab each section that you did your rough cuts, and we're going to start going into detail cutting. When you cut, extend your blade. You know this by now. Don't cut pointy like this. You want to lay it as close to the surface and do a smooth cut like that, so that you have maximum surface of the blade going into the foam core. Try not to angle your blade. You want to keep a 90-degree straight cut to give you a nice clean cut like this. Now this is page 5. For these two over here, you want to cut around the outside. Don't cut through these little lines over here. We want to keep those intact. The way I designed this aligns perfectly, as does the bottom. So you could use your ruler and just place it like this. Remember, don't cut in between. You want to cut only around the outside, like this. We have our left side and our right side. We just have to trim our center. A trick I've shown in other videos, when your ruler doesn't have anything to lean on against over here, take a scrap of the piece that you just cut. This one's a nice long one. And you're just going to lay it here next to it, so that when you place your ruler is flush. It's not wobbly. And make sure to press really hard. When you don't press hard, your piece wants to go like this. Now I want to remove this. I want to cut along here and then along this dark edge. Okay, we now have our left, center, and right piece. Let's put these aside for now. Grab the next closest item. Now this is just two rectangles we need to cut along the white like we did before. Now this was just a frame. This is not where I want to cut. I want to cut on the inside, the outer edge of the black. This center should be removed like that. Now these are your door frame angle templates, right and left. Put these aside. You don't have any excess in between these two pieces. You're just going to be doing 3 cuts, 1, 2, and 3. Now we have to cut the sides off over here. If you feel at ease and you've done many, you could do freehand like this. See how easy it is? If you're worried of not making a straight angle, then you can always go with your ruler like this. Put all these aside for now. For these, you want to cut only around the 2 rectangles, not in between on these little thin white lines. This line, we do want to cut. Template left and right. Put aside. Here we have door templates, left and right. Put them aside. This is page 4. You want to cut along all the outside edges over here, and then you want to cut these 2 strips over here. This is all the same line. We can start by chopping that. Let's cut these next. These are very thin, very fragile, so be careful when you cut these. And there we go. We have these two little optional open door spines. Put these aside. On the long lines, I'm going to do this. Now for here is where you're going to be attaching your wall panels. So you want to make sure that these are nice, clean cut angles. You don't want to have any rounded corners or messy cuts over here. Put the blade right in the corner. You're going to pierce the foam core first, then lower, and then pull back. Now here we're doing the same thing. We're going to poke here, lower, and then pull back. You're going to flip this around, and we're going to poke down, lower, and then bring it back to give you a nice corner angle like this. Now since we poked this way, we're now going to poke in the opposite direction. You just want to poke down and then meet the corner. See, it'll come off easily, just like that. Now we can flip it around. Just do an angle cut. So we cut our angles over here. See how you have nice clean cuts here? We want to do the same thing on this side. This is our floor template. Now we need to do the same thing for the top, but we're going to cut out a circle in order for your light to pass through. For this one, I'm going to use the X-Acto pen. Spin it around, let your hand move, and when you can't rotate your wrist anymore, rotate the foam core and then start again. You want natural movements. That's how you get a nice circle cut. You might have to do 2 passes or more. You can always check under. You can see where the connection went through and here it did not. So you're going to want to do another little trim over here. Now we should be able to pop this out. No problem. And this is our top ceiling template. For this one, it's very important. We want to cut along the outside edge, not the center, not the inside, but the outside. Just like that. For this, we need really precise cuts. So cut this way, then this way, and then put your knife in the corner and cut this way. Okay, this is our ceiling top. Now, I say to use white foam core because the white over here looks nicer than if you had a black. There you have your closet floor and closet ceiling. Put these aside for now. Next thing I saw was the door frame. You want to cut along all the white. You want to remove the white that's around the door frame. Do you see this color here? You want to keep that. That's part of the decal. This is where you want to cut. Not here. That's just the frame. You want to cut along this. Just like that. I'm sure many of you now know this technique by heart as it's in many of the builds. I'm going to stop there. Now I'm going to go here, poke, and cut. Do the same thing here. Then I'm going to do here, push down, connect. Just like that. And now I'm going to have a nice corner, like on the opposite side. Trim the bottoms. This side I'm trimming along the white. There we go. This is your frame. Put it aside for now. Let's attack our little templates. Just like this. Now we're just going to cut each one individually. Here's all our little top spine templates. Put them aside for now. Center spine. Put this aside. Got these next. Those are the pieces you want. Put these aside. Now these are what control the angles of your bottom pieces. So it's very important that you follow as close as you can the angles of your templates so that you have nice sharp angles on your bottom consoles. For these, I suggest to use a ruler. Now you'll notice that here is a rectangle, 90-degree corners on both sides, which is not the case here. It's not an illusion that this sticks out a little bit as a trapeze. There we have our left and right templates for the bottom section of your panels. Put these aside for now. This is page number 3 over here. So we're just going to cut the templates along the black edges. And then for the door over here, we're going to be trimming around the blue. Here I have my supports plus the door itself. Put this aside, put this aside. Now we just have to cut these 3 closet supports. Put that aside. Let's glue these three pieces together so then we can cut the actual shape, and then we'll be done with the foam core. Put a bit of hot glue, but very thin. I'm gonna smush it down, place the other piece on top, and then wiggle it so that there's minimal separation in between the two pieces. Hot glue dries quickly, so you have to act quick. Okay, some more glue. Rotate, squish it. Now we can cut around our shape over here. Now your blade is cutting through the glue, so you're going to have a bit more resistance than usual. This is multiple passes because it's very thick. You want a nice clean cut like that. It's hard to see, but there's a little angle here that doesn't meet the circle. The circle would continue like this. These two angles are critical that you make them perfect. I'm going to cut this first. Do you see that? This angle cut over here. Now I'm going to do this corner. Just like so. This is the trickiest part, the inside. You can't cut all the way through for this in one shot. Better to do one layer at a time. Press down, start in the center, and then work your way out. Like so. Here it's more important than ever not to angle your blade. You want it to cut straight. You don't want it to cut at an angle. Then go on this side. Eventually this will be able to pop out. Check the other side. Make sure that your circle is being cut properly. Now I'm going to use my pencil just to smooth it out a little bit more. Just like this. So you have nice clean cuts on the side where your walls are going to connect. And this will be hidden with a decal, so don't worry about it too much. Put this aside for now. Now we have all of our foam core pieces cut, we can move on to our poster board. So the first thing we want to do is just separate loosely all of these pieces so that it'll be easier to manipulate and cut all the details through, as opposed to having one giant sheet. If you have some identification like this, make sure not to cut that out right away. Now that it's easier to manipulate, we can start cutting more precise. Now, since the poster board is not 0.5 centimeter of foam core, it's easier to cut, just like that. You see a faint white line in between here, that you want to cut, okay? That is a cutting line for this piece. First two pieces I did, put these aside. If we examine the cutting guide here, you want to cut along these 4 red marks over here, which means slice, 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 slice. The rest you go around the outsides. These are your folding lines. You don't want to cut those. With the excess gone, it's easier to manipulate. So we're going to go around here, just the outsides. For these long horizontal ones, we're going to cut through the black here, but we're going to stop right where the gray marks are. This will allow you later to be able to fold this over to create your trapeze shape. This is what our shape looks like. Put this aside with the other ones. Same thing here. Red cutting guides. You want to slice along here, stopping at the center. All these other lines are your folding lines. This is what your main center body looks like. Put it aside for now. What we're going to start doing is the long lines with a ruler. You're not cutting in between here. You're cutting only on the outsides. You want to start here. This is a cutting line. And then stop there at the angle. Then you'll be trimming this like that. Now you want to cut from here and here all the way to the end. Now for the other pieces, I find it easier to go with the Fiskars. Now when you start cutting the insides, you want to stop here at these points. You want to just remove these little V parts. Same thing here. Cut this, stop here, and then cut outside. Don't cut in the folding lines. This is what our right top panel template looks like. Now we can tackle the other pieces in the same way. Now we have all of our poster board templates done. We can start putting the Sharpie on. This one, we don't want any black around it because we want to keep these pale colors, so we can put this one aside. All the other pieces that are black, we want to put the Sharpie around the edges. Now to get access where we did the cuts in between here, start with the slow. We're going to have to fold along the guideline over here first. Want to make sure that you're not bending it crooked. Once your bend is almost 90 degrees, then you can pinch it tighter to get it out of the way. Now you have access in there. Do the same thing for your other folds, just like that. Now we can access inside that crack there. When you've put the Sharpie all around, we can put this aside for now. This is the easiest. Do you see how when you have the black, it blends in? You don't have that white stripe like that. It disappears. Always use the edge of your Sharpie, not the tip end like this. Same thing for this. You're going to want to fold this here along the end. This way you'll have complete access to the corner here. Then you can put the black along the edges, just like that. The Sharpie is all applied on the edges, creating a nice black continuous edge. No white of the foam board exposed. Let's do the same thing on the other ones. Put all the poster board aside. Grab your Foamcore. We're going to do the same technique on all of the pieces. This time when we have decals, we want the decal facing out. Repeat on all the other pieces. Now that our Sharpie is done, we can start assembling. If your fingers look anything like this, it's a good time to wash them. We don't want to start assembling and smudging this onto our build. On page 2 of the blueprints, you'll be seeing the bottom closet panels. Let's start with that. You're going to take your panel piece over here and you're going to score it, which means that along these lines over here, you're going to use your X-Acto knife to cut not all the way across. You're going to stop at the bottom layer of paper over here, which will allow you to bend the piece as one instead of 4 individuals. You'll then be able to apply it with some hot glue onto your top and bottom templates over here. I just noticed on the blueprints that I had said that you need 4 3x1 end caps over here, yet I forgot to put them in the decal templates. So I redid page 4 of the decals, which now include the 4 templates over here. All we have to do now is apply these to the Foamcore and cut them into 4 pieces. For our bottom, these are the pieces that we need. We have our top, our bottom, we have the template for the front, and our end caps that we just cut. Take your ruler, align it on the white line, and then with your X-Acto blade, extend it. Don't do it like this. You want to do it flat, as close to the ground as possible. You'll feel when you start cutting through the Foamcore. See, you can bend it without going in the back. Even pros make mistakes. See, I cut all the way through here, which is bad. Before that pops off, take a piece of Scotch tape and then just tape the back of it. Now you'll be able to bend without it popping off. This is what we want. Let's do the same on the other one. Make sure there's no cuts all the way through, which there isn't. Then I can bend these. Now we have 2 pieces that can curve like this. You want to bend them with the crack facing the template, and you're going to align it here with this flush rectangle. Now you'll see that on the left template, it's like a square here. This is going to align flush with your piece number 1. And on the opposite side, it's mirrored, and you're going to be aligning it on this side with your number 1 over here. So let's grab our left, our number 1 over here. We're going to flip that. This is our number 1, and we're going to be attaching it just like that. So a little bit of glue over here. The important thing is to have it flush over here and flush at the top. You want to press it against the edges there, so everything fits nice. Now we can do the bottom. Find your 90-degree end over here, the one that says template. We're going to attach this the same way. So a little bit of glue over here, place it here, turn this upside down, flush on the corner, make sure that you're flush over here, and then press all these together. At the moment, we're just making our boxes. We'll deal with the sticker skins later. If you have any excess, just rub it off. A little hot glue on the bottom here and on each side, and then sandwich that in. Make it flush over here. The decal will wrap around this end cap like that. Now let's put the cap on this side. If you wanted, you could even dry fit it like this because it's pretty snug, and then just put a drop of hot glue from the inside So this is your left bottom of your closet. Now we'll be doing the mirror panel. Remember, number 1 is aligned where it says the word template. So we have our right side and our left side of the bottom. The center one will be placed over here and it'll give you the roundness of the closet and the entrance over here. Now the next step would be to apply the decal skins like we see over here, but we're going to do that last after we have all the boxes assembled. So put these aside for now. Now looking at page 3 of our blueprints again, we want to take the middle closet panels and we want to make the boxes for those. What we want to do is fold all along the folding lines over here. These we want to fold inwards. We want to go this way. Because there's a groove on each side, it makes the cardboard bend in the proper line. The last one we want to fold towards the outside because that's our end cap. These we fold inwards as well. This over here we want to fold towards the outside along the white line. Same thing here. Do a slow bend first. When it starts going 90 degrees, then you can pinch it tight. Same thing here. Do a slow bend first. When you see that the poster board is aligning perfectly with the line, squeeze in the memory. Next ones we want to go inward. And then this one goes outside in this direction. These are all going inside as well. Here you want to fold towards the inside again. Outside for the end cap. Now on this side we want to fold the lines over just like that. So what we want from the top view, these center pieces, you want it to curl towards the front. You want these to curl towards the back. And then these go sideways. These little flaps all go to the bottom. And those will all attach to the rear of the front there. Same thing here. And then this will attach to the rear. But then if you did only that, you'd be able to squish it very easily. So what we want to do, we want to glue our little left spines over here, right on the edge like that. We're going to start over here, put a little glue here, apply it aligned with your fold, and you want to have it flush at the top and bottom so that nothing really sticks out when you look at it on the other side. Here's the other fold. So we're going to put one on the left side of the fold and we're going to put one on the right side of the fold. So a bit of glue over here, align it flush with the top and bottom and make sure that it follows parallel with your fold. See, when you look here, your little template spine is just perfectly placed. If it was sticking out like this, that's not good. You want to align it so that you don't see any of it at the bottom and none of it at the top either. Some hot glue again. Align it parallel with the previous one over here. Make sure it doesn't stick out. Remove any of the excess glue. Now we just have to repeat on the other pieces. On the last one, you want it flush with this, as well as on the sides like we did on the other ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Our rear spine looks like this now. If we try to fold it like this, the pieces here get in the way. So if we look at our blueprint, we have to trim at an angle these 3 pieces here so that when we fold it in the proper angle, they won't come and be blocked by these pieces. So lean it against the tabletop here. You want to cut this one here. Then this one you want to keep clean. You want to cut this one over here. Same angle, a sharp angle. And then you want to cut this one. Now remember, these won't be visible. So if your cut's not perfect, doesn't matter. Put your finger on the back here to support this as you cut. Now when it bends, the corner doesn't get jammed and blocked by this piece. You'll be able to get the nice angle that you want over here. So we have our 3 trims, just like in the blueprint. Now we'll be able to bend it much easier. See how the connections fit now? Now we want to turn this shape into these box panels. If you look at your top over here, these pieces in the front get glued in the rear like this, giving you a nice angle over here. In the rear, however, the fold goes in between the 2 supports, creating this angle. So now when you're pressing, the supports are making it impossible for this to get crushed, and you're getting the same exact thickness all the way around. What you want to do is you want to take your hot glue like this, and once you put the blob on, you want to smear it so that it's as flat as it can and not a ball. Then you press it together, you'll get a perfect connection. So we're going to do one at a time. Little bit of hot glue, then smush it. Now it's going to dry very quickly. Press this against it. Align your top over here with the white folding guide. Press the two together and you'll see that it'll align flush over here. Now we can lift this like that and then do the next one. A bit of glue, not too much, you don't want to burn your finger. Smush it. Bring this down. Now align your top here with the folding guide. That's what's going to create the angle that we want. Now be careful, there might be glue in the rear here, so you don't want to burn yourself. Do you see how the top of your front piece here connects perfectly with your folding guide there? A little bit of white exposed. You're going to start seeing this slopey shape. You don't want a flat top. It's supposed to be angled here, just like that. Again, next, smush it around, close it, align. Your folding guides here will match up with these lines as well. That's how you know that you're doing it correctly. Then the next one will be this one over here. Can you see how it's all connected here with your little folded poster boards? And that creates this angle shape over here. What we have to do for these, we're going to have to fold them towards the outside of the rear, but it doesn't matter because this part's going to be glued on the closet rear wall and it's not going to be visible. What you want is clean in the front like this. Now before I apply these, let's do the end corner over here. I first want to fold this in. You want to create a 90-degree corner here, not an angle like that. It has to be perfectly 90 degrees here, so that when you overlap this, this aligns with the end cap. Little bit of glue on this piece, smudge it, flip it sideways, and then attach it to the rear. Make sure that it aligns flush with this. Now we have to glue these flaps on the rear of this side. A little bit of hot glue, smudge it around, lift it and place it inside. You want to align the bottom actually this time, and you'll see that this line aligns with this as well. So now we just want to press and squeeze the two pieces together. And if there's a slight gap, that's okay because you'll be covering this with a decal skin. You're just creating the template panels. This is a little trickier now because you can't open this forward because they're attached here. A little bit of hot glue, smush that around, bring it behind, align it, press it. If there's a little bit of excess glue there, you can remove those knots. Now I want to close in this gap over here. Fold this backwards to expose this little section here. Put the tiniest amount here. Bring it in the rear. Fold it like this. Let it fall and then use your finger to have it aligned perfectly over here. It's normal that you have a split gap here. We need to attach these rear pieces to the box here before we close the end. Make sure that all your pieces are folded properly here. Now we reopen them. I know it sounds like a step for nothing, but when you have the glue, you're not going to have much time left, so you want to be able to know that it's going to fold properly. It's always good to do a dry run first because you don't want to end up with a bubble like this. You want to press hard so that you give it some memory. So when your glue is applied and you press it down, you'll get the clean shape that you want. Little glue on the front, over here. Now we can bend this over, let the pieces touch in the front here. Press down, lift this up, check inside that they're connected properly over there. Keep pressing down. Don't press in the middle. Press where you see the light colors. That's where you can apply pressure. So now we can lift this and apply the glue on the second ones. Lower this in place. Make sure that this piece aligns on the inside there. So you want to push down a little bit. Your guideline here should align with this. That's how you know you're in good position. You could use your nail, press against the white guide to make sure you have nice angles. Okay, now fold this back again, over here and over here. Then bring it down. Make sure with your finger to press this one so that it reaches the inside. You want to feel it so that it goes here. You don't want it in between the white line. I can see that it's aligning in there on this side of the line. And if I press down, I can feel that it's nice and solid here and nice and solid there. I can use my fingernail, make a nice sharp corner. Now we have our last pieces over here. Fold that over and it should meet up with the corner over here. See, it's wrapping perfectly on the side there. If I press with my nail and I'm getting a nice angular shape here, you could start seeing how it looks like the movie set. Now I need to attach these rears. A little bit of glue. We want to smush it. Press down here towards the back and then let it fold like that, because you want a tight corner there. Make sure that it's not loose with a bubble. So we have one down. I'm noticing now that having these little flaps here, I'm getting 2 times the thickness, which is making not as nice as a connection as I want for this end over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you take your scissors and we're just going to trim along the fold line here. We're going to remove those. Now, when we bring this around, we're only having this original fold be the thickness, so this can lay nice and flat. Little glue on the front, smush it all on the surface here. Now we're going to fold this and we're going to press this way really tight and then make sure that our ends meet over here like that. And then we're going to pull this across. When I put my fingers, you should be pretty much flush here, each end, and then you want it flat. See how it looks like a perfect rectangle bottom here? That's what we want. It's normal that this is angled because this is where the center panel will be. So our left middle piece is done. You could see how it matches the blueprint over here, and then the skins will do later. Now that this is done, grab your other piece and we're going to repeat the same technique. Now that the 2 middle panels are done, we can move to the top panels, which is the same technique as what we just did. However, it's thinner here because of the design of the movie set, where it's not the same height as the middle section. You're going to be putting the same spines as we did, and we're going to be cutting these at the same angle to create this fold that we wanted and prevent these from blocking the bends over here. So like we did before, fold along these lines. It's a bit more fragile because it's not as thick. So this is what your folds look like for the top panel. Bit of hot glue, smush it, pull it, then bring this down and then align it flush. Make sure that this is nice and square here. There we go. Do you see that? We have our first fold over here, and that's where the first support template gets attached to, right there. Make sure it's flush here on both sides and that nothing's sticking out. All our pieces are in place. They match up with the light gray zones there. Now we'll just have to trim the angles like we did before. Now they're going to fold properly. Now we can put some glue and fold it over like this. In the front here, we have a double flap, which is excess. Do like I did in the medium. I'm going to cut this off here along the end. Now we'll be able to do double fold here and then press this over like that. Smudge a little hot glue here. Press it down along the sides and you're going to bring it over. See how nice and clean that is? Work your way back to where you started. Push flat. A little bit of glue here. I want to pull this way as tight as I can. Play with this to make sure that it aligns perfectly with the top and bottom there. You want to try to get the white mark to match over here. Put some glue here. Fold this over. Because of the thicknesses, you might get a little bit of a roundness here as opposed to a sharp corner. Our piece is done, just like the middle one, but not as thick on the insides here. You should have one side that is like a square, over here, and then you have one side that you could see is angled. Now we're just going to repeat this for the other side. We should now have our two bottom bases over here. We have our middle sections and our top sections. Now we can work on the middle part. Now the center consists of a bottom position and a top position. So we want to grab our center panel main body over here, our 5 center spines, and our template skin over here. We're going to be placing 5 spines along the front here. A little bit of glue along the bottom. Place it over the center spine guide, just like this. The first one should be flush with the bottom, and make sure it's flush on the sides. You don't want anything sticking out on the left and right. And try to keep this at 90 degrees. A little bit of glue. Next center spine guide. Align it left and right. A little bit of glue. Perfect, perfect. You want to align this one exactly at the line and try not to get any glue on this area because this is the actual exposed decal section of your centerpiece. You now have your spines installed. Here we have the same thing. We're going to be placing 2 spines over here. So the first thing I want to do is fold this over. You'll see that your spine top over here matches the width of the gray zone. So this time we're putting glue on the top, not on the bottom, and then apply it along the fold. Use a flat surface to press it against, you'll get a better result. Make sure that the corners here line up with the folding lines. Some hot glue, apply it on the table surface. Move this up and down so that it matches your fold. You want it flush with the fold line, just like this. A little bit of glue here, and then a bit of smush glue there. You're going to lift it and put it on the edge of the thickness of the Foamcore, and then you're going to lower this. Make sure that it's nice and flush because you're going to be putting a decal skin over here. Now you can press against here because of the support. Then we'll be able to fold this over after we put the other side. A little bit of smush glue over here. Lift and press this inside against the Foamcore. Make sure you have a nice, flush, clean section here. Try not to burn your fingers. Remove any of the excess glue. And then just like on the other side, we have a nice clean edge over here. Let's do the same thing. A little bit of glue on the Foamcore, and then a little bit of smushed glue on the poster board. Bring this down, align it, and press. Now we just have this corner left to place, so pull this slightly, put 1 small drip of glue, then we'll want to smush this down. Press hard, take a scrap of Foamcore, then just bring it over like that instead of your finger so you don't burn yourself. Now I can remove the excess. The front and the sides are nice and clean. All we have to do is fold these rear flaps over like this. Start on one side, a bit of smushed glue, bring it up, press tight over here, and then press down. Your 2 sides here should align properly. Smush some glue on this side, press down over here, bring it forward as you make it go down. Make sure it's aligned on both sides. Okay, our little box is done for the top. This is what it looks like. And see, this will fit right in that gray area where it says top. Did I make a mistake by doing this? I can't believe I did that. What a stupid thing to do, to put the identification right on the exposed color. What was I thinking? For the future upcoming steps, you're going to be seeing this text. But in your version, you're not going to have the text because I'm going to clean it up right now. So just pretend you're not seeing it. Wipe it from your mind. Now we're going to grab our color piece here. We want to fold along the white guidelines over here. Now to be able to have nice straight lines, we're going to use the technique that we did with the back of the X-Acto blade. I don't want to score on this side of the decal because I want to keep this clean skin. So I want to score on the back of the poster board. Take a piece of paper, you could use your decal if you want, and you're going to just align this flush over here, and you're going to just make little marks where your white folding guide is. Make sure to mark the corners of your decal as well. Now you're going to flip this and then realign it with your edges there. You're going to just transfer your pencil marks onto the actual poster board. And now if you go like this, you can see that it matches perfectly. Now align this on the other side as well. Make my pencil marks like that. Now for this side, you want to put this under the paper so that you can have this exposed in order to make your marks right there. Now you take your ruler, align your pencil marks. Now with the back of the blade, not the sharp end, do a crease like this. Do you see the nice fold that I'm getting? So let's do it on all the other ones. I don't want to make a crease on this little triangle here because this actually bends towards the top. So this will do a crease this way. Let's start by that so that I'll know where to stop for the two center ones. So now we can do our folds slowly at first. Once you have your ghost folds, you can start pressing tighter. Pinch, 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 and slide. Okay, so I have all my folds here like this. I just noticed that I have two more little guides that I have to do. I'm going to align a piece of Foamcore with the edge over here, and then I'm just going to make a line here like that. Back scratch. Now we're able to flip this over here as well. Try not to make creases on any of the insides because it'll make your panel look ugly. Okay, let's put a little bit of hot glue there and then smush it. Bring this down and this over just like that. And then pinch it in the rear with your thumb. You want to make this as flush as you can over here. Put a bit of hot glue and smush it. Now bend this over, align it flush. Make sure there's no excess glue sticking out. A nice clean finish is what you want. You'll now be able to lean this on top of your Foamcore spine, and it should align perfectly with the bottom. Now we don't have to put any glue underneath here. What we want to do is do a dry run. You want to make sure that the second folded line wraps around the outside of your Foamcore piece over here. You'll see that the thickness of the Foamcore is what fits into this area over there. Just like this. Now slip your cover over, but leave this last spine exposed. Put a few drops on it, and then you're going to lift this. This will lean against the top, and this should arrive flush over here. You shouldn't see any of this sticking out. Now the glue hardens really quick. Just a little bit of pressure for 5-10 seconds. Now we're going to attach the back. We're going to do a dry run and we're going to pull this really tight until we see that we have 100% connection along our back folding guide there. You want to pinch this side over here. You want it as tight as possible. And you have a nice snug fit at the top here. You don't want it loose like this. A little bit of hot glue, smush it as much as you can. Start at the center, push in. Move your way out. The glue will attach itself really quickly. And then press all the way across, pinch the back, and you have a nice, clean, tight fit over here. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. The base of your center panel is now done. All that's left is to attach this top center panel. However, we didn't put the skin on this yet, so we're not gluing it now. Since I was showing you this, might as well apply the decal. Now I'm seeing that there's a little gap here. Okay, it's been a couple of hours since what you just watched, and I have improved the page 6 of the decal sheet. So now what you're going to be seeing over here is the new cutout like this with the extra flaps on the top and bottom. That will cover the exposed little black Foamcore over here. You won't have that issue anymore. So all the folds are exactly the same as before, but now you have this extra little flap here that goes behind. So it all folds the same, just like this. Pretend this is all black. Glue on the front and the sides. Center this over here. Fold it over. Then bring this down. Fold this over, 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 Now, instead of having this exposed area, when you fold this over in the rear, you're getting a nice clean edge over here with no exposed black that you see on this side. Fold this over, fold this back, a little bit of hot glue, smush it, align it like so. Make sure that it's flush on the sides here. Press down against the rear, just like that. Our center panel is done. Let's continue the side panels. Now, before we can wrap our skins on all of these pieces that we built, we're going to have to trim and cut the decal sheets. When you have long pieces, better to use a ruler than a scissor. Here, you'll notice that there's the black line of the frame, and then your shape is just a little bit inside. Cut along the color over here. Do you see here the little white that's left over? Now I only have the color touching the outside. Put these aside. This another piece I want to use the ruler for the straight lines. Put it aside in the cut pile. Cut along the outside edges over here. Cut along here. We have to cut along these guides. We want to be bending this darker color around our little shape over here. Put it aside in the cut pile. When I was filming the cutting of this little piece, I noticed that on the camera, the sound had cut off because my microphone had died. Now, the only other part that the sound dropped off was when I was cutting these side panels over here. So because these are long, it's better to use a ruler. So that's what I did. You just align and cut along the sides. You could use your scissors for the end caps over here because it's not as long. The most important part are these two over here. You'll notice that pale gray area over here next to the dark color. This is all in one piece. You want to keep this piece over here. If you cut in a straight line and you don't have this, it's not going to work for your final decal application. Put it aside in the cut pile. For straws, we only need 4. I gave you some extra ones over here. So we're just going to cut along the outside, and then we're going to cut along the white lines over here. There we go. Put this aside for now. This one I'll just separate. For these two, you have a nice straight top and bottom that you want to keep in order to get the cleanest application on your pieces over here. There's one piece. Put this aside. Number 2, put this aside for now. Let's continue all of these. Now, in no particular order, just cut all the way around, removing the white outside. Don't cut inside of these folding guides. You want to keep those intact. After you finish each skin, put it aside in the cut pile. All our decals are now cut. We might as well move on to the vinyl. We're going to grab our floor piece, and we just need enough vinyl to cover this area. Do a rough cut, peel the backing. You don't have to be flush. You can make it go a little bit towards the front there. Keep this lifted. Now I'm going to come here with my scrap Foamcore, and I'm just going to bring it forwards like this. Once it touched everywhere, then you can press harder. Now we're going to flip this around, extend your blade, lean it against your Foamcore, and now we're going to use the X-Acto to trim around the contours. Now when you turn it around, you have a perfect glossy floor. Put this aside for now. Now we can apply our skins on all the panels. Let's start with our bottoms. Now before we apply them, we have to fold them. On page 2 of the blueprints, you could see that we're going to take the decals, we're going to fold them over here in order to place them on top of our bottom panel over here. Then we're going to take the front decals and we're going to fold it so that we can place it over the top decals and give us the final look of our bottom panel. We'll start with these, very simple. You'll notice that there's slightly darker colors. Start by a slight circular bend like this. Make sure that it goes along your line. Then you can pinch it closer and tighter. Then pinch it sideways like this. And then you'll get a nice 90-degree fold over here. There is another corner edge over here. Now the other ones, you want to fold these inward. Now when both ends are pinched, it's easy if you grab it like this and then you put some pressure and bring it towards the center. Your folded line should connect exactly where it's supposed to be. This is what you want. This shape like this. Do that for the other side. These are the same thing. We're going to want to fold these outside like that, just like this. Do the same thing for this side. Our skins are ready. Now we can apply them to the bottom foam core structures. I'd like to take this time to give a huge thank you to my Patreon family and their devotion towards my channel and art. Your continued support also helps me cover some of the material costs that enable me to make more dioramas and tutorials like this one. Let's start with the left. We'll need bottom left and bottom left. First thing we want to do is place the top. Now the tricky part where you have folds in your decal, you want to unfold first so that when you peel it, you don't get anything tangled and then have the decal tear where there's the folds. So I'm going to start the peel here. See, it wants to tear over here. So I want to push this down as I peel it off the corner like that. Now I can peel it over here, and now it's going to want to do the same thing here. So I have to make sure this is down and peel, and be careful when you're manipulating this. Your finger is going to want to get stuck, or I should say the decal wants to get stuck on your finger. And then you risk tearing it when you pull your thumb off, which I've done also before. Lay this on the table for now. I just want to cover this. Put a little bit on the side if you want. Take your decal, fold it backwards on the edge over here so that you have your perfect end. You want to align your decal sheet flush with your folds there on the sides. You want this fold to be flush with the top as well. Now with the glue stick, you're able to manipulate this left and right until you see that all of your folds are pretty much landing where they're supposed to. And that looks good. Start in the center, put a bit of pressure, then fold this down like that, then center, fold that down, this one. Make sure you have 90-degree tight corners here. Now bend this one over like that. These will cover the thickness of the foam core, and it gives you a nice clean edge to be able to lean against the wall. Now we can bring these down as flush as you can around the corners. Make sure that here it's nice and flat. You can grab a piece of scrap foam core and press along the inside like this, so that'll give you perfect connection in between the gaps there. Same thing in the back, just like this. And this is what your top piece looks like. You want these little box details to be at the top. You could do a dry run. You'll see that your pieces should fit perfectly like this on the side, and then over here it'll wrap behind where the text will be hidden. Take the glue stick. Don't apply any at the top. You don't want glue there. Some on the side and over here. Now make sure not to touch the glue surface with your fingers, because if you have glue here and then you manipulate the decal, the glue is going to make smudges and it's going to ruin your decal. Peel this, align in the corner of the first one. You want them all to be flush at the top, and the bottom will be flush too because it matches the template that we did. Now the important thing is that you want these all to be touching here without having any bubbles. I'm going to use my scrap over here, and I'm just going to press this against the fold. I don't want to use my finger because then it'll make it round. I want to have sharp edges. Fold over from the center, center out, center out. Use your scrap foam core, pull over here, make sure it's tight, then move this way. Now you can fold it towards the rear. Do the same thing at the bottom, and then carefully pinch it like this. It's normal that your decal will have folds like this because there's no support. Don't worry about that. This is going to be hidden by the wall. And there you go. Your bottom panel, side left, is done. See how it's flat here? And then this is angled. This will be your front. This will be the centerpiece over here. You'll understand more about this when we get to that process. We ready for the other side? Our two skins are now applied. So your front of the door is the square angles over here, and then here is a V angle to match the trapeze shape that'll fit like this. That's why we have different corners in the front and in the back. These are done. Let's put them away for now. If we look at page 3 of the blueprints, we're going to be taking our decals and we're going to be folding them placing them at the top of our middle panel. And then we're going to take the bottom decals and do the same thing. And then finally, we're going to fold the front skins and apply them on top of the top and bottom. Let's start with our middle panels. So these are the skins we're going to need for the middle section. Left side, right side. Let's start with the left side top. First thing we want to do is fold this along the outside. Folding guides, slowly bend it over and pinch. And you'll see that it's going to start following the guides there. Lift it back up. Now we do the other side. Lift it back up. Now we're going to fold the ends downward like we did for the base. This one goes downward as well. Now these will fold inward because of our V grooves over here. You're going to get the fold where it's supposed to. So this is the shape we have. You'll notice here where it says skin is your rectangle. Now we're ready to peel, but again, remember where you have folds, it wants to rip. So you have to bring the folds back down in order for the backing not to rip the front of your sticker. You don't want to do that. That would be terrible. Find your left middle template, some glue over here to be able to manipulate the decals. A little bit on the side, just at the top, not all the way down. Not too much. You don't want to cause bumps underneath the decals. Try not to tear it when it sticks to your thumb there. So I'm going to align this here with my corner, just like this. Now I'm going to let this fall naturally, and it should align over here with this fold. Now when you look at the top, you can play with it like this if you need to, back and forth because of the glue stick. Then you can use your finger to slowly just see if the lines are matching up with the Foamcore. And it is, so you know your position of the decal is correct. So now we can take our scrap that we had, and you're going to bring it from the center to the outside. Then you're going to press down here in the crack. Then forward like this, then back, and then forward. Now we can press towards the front and glue the pieces like that. Then use your scrap in order to get inside the creases. Now at the top, press this back. Same thing here, towards the back. Now I can fold this over, and it should align your front lines and back. Now I can bend this like that. Same thing here now. Guidelines align with the front and back. Then fold. Here's your top piece for your decal skin. Now we'll apply the bottom. Your square for the front door is now on the right side. So I have my bottom and top over here. Now we want to apply the front. Now these little circle pieces face up. Here's your text, top, bottom. So you bring this way and you're going to be applying it like this. Your text description over here is going to wrap around the back of it like this. Your fold marks are the black lines over here. Just fold this outwards, fold outwards on the white, outwards on the end cap over here as well. And then the other ones are going to fold inwards. This is what we want your decal to look like. It should fit perfectly aligned with the top and bottom. Peel that. I'm going to do some safety glue stick. Now just put it in the center. You don't want to bring it to the side because this is exposed. We want to keep that clean. This goes over here. Okay, see how it fits perfectly on the sides there. You want to make sure it's not crooked like that. I'm exaggerating. You want it to be as clean as you can in between. Now align this one first, and when you see that it's nice, take your scrap, press like this, and we're going to bring it to the crack, and then you're going to go like this along the line here. Make sure that it's flush on both ends. Fold these over, center out. You have a perfect end cap. Flip it to the other side, put pressure on here. Now you can flip the rear. And your left middle console is done. You might have some little exposed black of the Foamcore there. You could always use gray paint to do a little dot of gray over here to hide it. Now let's go to the other side. We just need to repeat the same technique. This piece is now done. Left and right. See how it goes at an angle in the center. Put these aside. Let's do the top. Now we're going to take our top decal skins. We're going to fold them, and then we're going to apply them to the top of our panel assembly here. And then we're going to do the same thing for the bottom, and then finally do the front. Let's grab our top pieces. If you look at the side, there's a flat 90 degrees here. The top of it is flat and the bottom is angled. This would be the right side. Your left piece will be this one. Now what you can do is identify them as right, left. I'm even going to put an F here for front, so I know that the rear are these two sides over there. So here's the skins you're going to need for your top panels. The same thing we did for the center. We need to fold all of the outsides over here. Then this goes over. This is exactly the same as the middle piece, except that the overlap is a lot thinner to match the thinness of your 0.5 centimeter front. Where it says top left is where it's going to be on the last piece on the right. Okay, this is what our top looks like. Let's do this side. Let's fold our piece towards the outside. The inside flaps now. Fold inwards, 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 and then this one goes over. Where it says top left will go on the right side over here, and then it'll wrap its way all the way around. And your front flaps will overlap the flaps that you just did before. Fold this end cap towards the back, towards the front. Fold this towards the front, towards the back. All that's left now is to do the front. Start by folding this outwards, then outwards again. On this white line, fold outwards, outwards at the start of the trapeze. All the other ones fold inwards. So you get this shape, like that. Now you'll notice that here is a plain color and dots on the underside. Your top left text is going to go just like this and wrap itself behind the left side. The rest covers the front, and then you have your trapeze. You see how it fits on the end cap like that. If you had it on the wrong side, you would notice that the angle doesn't match. Your flat side is here at the top instead of being at the bottom. Peel this. Take your shape with the dots, flip it this way. Put some glue stick on the front, a little bit on the side. End cap first. Align it so that your trapeze goes flush at the bottom and at the top. And then when you bring this corner down, it should match up with your grooves here. And if it doesn't, just pull this slightly towards you. There we go. So we have our first groove aligned here. And then here. Make sure that it's flush with the top and bottom as much as you can. Use your scrap, put some pressure so it doesn't slip away. Now I can go from here and press outward and then move this towards the rear. Go to the other side, flip this, align it like this so that it's flush with the flat top and the bottom angle, and then press it out and then wrap it around the back. And there you have it. Let's do the other one. Now, not only are our two tops done, we have all the panel pieces done. The left side, the right side, and what fits in the center. All we need to do now is glue them to the walls. Before we do that, we have to score these in order to be able to fold them so that they wrap around properly on our floor template. You don't want to cut all the way across the foam core because we want to be able to bend the pieces outward like this, which will allow us to do the wraparound. So I'm just going to grab one of my blueprints and flip the paper upside down. We're just going to put some marks over here on the left and right and on the folding guides. Then I'm going to take my left wall. I'm going to flip it upside down like this, realign it with my marks over here. And then I'm going to just put some pencil marks on the rear here where I'm supposed to score. Just like that. Then I'm going to bring it down and align it where it was exposed over here. Then I'm going to put marks over here on the other side. Just like that on both sides. Do the same thing with my right side. Now I'm going to align my ruler. Take your X-Acto, extend it as much as you can. Take your time. You don't want to cut through the other side. Nothing going through. Now I can bend this and snap it so that it starts folding like this. Now I will have a shape that looks like this from the top. And if I take a right panel, it aligns perfectly just like that. Then our middle panels will go over here, and then the top panels fit here just like that. Let's do the left side now. Perfect. Our left and right walls are ready. Let me explain the floor a little bit. You'll see that our flat part over here that I said it was close to the door, this will go and fit flush along the floor over here. You'll notice a little 0.5 centimeter gap over here. If you look at our decal, you can see that on the right it's flush, but it's not flush here. There's a little gap. That's because this little gap fits over here. So when you apply this here, it'll stick flush to the corner there. At the same time, it's going to give you that little gap that we want on the left. But before we get to this, we're going to assemble our walls. Let's start with our left one. Grab your left panel bottom. Notice that 0.5 centimeter gap that I mentioned. You see it easier in the dark color. We are going to align left square side flush with this at the bottom. You're going to be getting a perfect 0.5 centimeter gap here, and it's going to align over here with this darker line. Put some hot glue along the sides there. Place it flush at the bottom. Align it with your guide there. And then you're going to be wrapping this, making sure that it's all flush at the bottom. Press this down like this so that it makes contact with your rear wall here with no gaps. Flush over here as much as you can. There might be a slight area that sticks out like this, which is okay. When you place your centerpiece over here, it'll be hiding it. Let this cool off. For the middle piece, you want the dots to be at the top. So we're going to be putting some glue on the outer edges. Align it flush with your medium color gray there. Then we're going to bring it so that it follows this darker color. What's important is to press down so that your wall panels follow the angles over here. You'll have a bit sticking out like this again, but that's fine. Last is our top piece. The dots are at the bottom. You want your square end over here to be near the door. You'll want to align it with the top just like this. So a little bit of hot glue, you could smush it so that it's flatter. Now align it at the 0.5 centimeter and with the gray guide. Keep some pressure until it cools off. And this is what our left wall looks like now. Let's do the same thing for the other side. This time you'll notice the 0.5 centimeter gap is on this side. It's a mirror of itself. Let's start with the bottom piece. Some hot glue here, all the way down, back to the top. This time I'm aligning it flush at the bottom and with my 0.5 centimeter gap over there. And then bringing this towards the front end. Keep this flush over here, then press hard to make full contact. See how cool that looks? Again, you might have some sticking out there. It's no problem. Don't worry about it. What's important is this is flush so that it leans on the floor surface. Both our walls are done now. See how our centerpiece just fits in between like that? Now, if you grab your left wall, you could see how your piece fits just like a puzzle, just like that. Now that our two pieces are done, we can start adding the details inside over here. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding our hook cups and we're going to be putting our bendy straws with the two grommets in between the top and middle panels. So if we look at page 6, we'll see that you need 16 of these little rubber grommets that are going to fit on each side of your 6.5 centimeters straw. We don't want the plain straws for now. These are going to be used at the end with the wraparound skin. The ones we want are the extra large bendies over here. We're going to pull this to extend it fully. From here all the way to here is 11 centimeters. Now, I don't know if you can find the exact same ones, but I bought them on Amazon. I don't need this for the moment. What we need is 6.5 centimeters. Let's cut all the other ones. We have our 8 short ones and our 2 long ones. What we want to do now is we want the straws to go inside these holes here. So use your pointy X-Acto here. You're poking the hole here to make a slit like this, stopping outside of the circle. Then you return here, poke another slit, then go here, poke again till you reach the other side of the circle, and then continue this until you get a plus sign like this. Then we're going to be able to stick our pencil inside the center, and the flaps are going to fold inward to allow you to have the straw go in. Whatever you do, don't push hard enough to poke out the top. When you reach there, you'll be able to feel it and you're going to stop. A trick you can do also for the top part, because this is so much thinner, is grab a pencil where you cut off the tip over here so that you reduce the risk of having the pointy tip of the pencil poke out at the top. These 4 are done. Let's do these over here. The middle section, because you have more depth over here compared to the top, your pencil can go deeper and then you'd be able to wiggle it around. Just make sure it doesn't poke out the bottom over here. Your straw fits perfectly, just like this. Okay, we have the top and we have the bottom holes done. Let's do the other panel. Okay, our straw holes are done. Now we can just grab a push pin like this, and we're just going to press inside our dots there, just like that. So if we look at page 7 of the blueprint, you'll see that the grommet leans against the bottom of the top panel here, and the bottom grommet leans on top of the top middle panel, and it acts as a way to hide the holes that we pierced and make it look just like the movie set. We're going to insert 2 grommets on each side of the straw like that. Once your straw is dry, we want to collapse it back into its normal state. Then we're going to put one of these grommets through one end like this. Just twist it until it goes all the way through. It'll start poking out just about like this. Then on the other side, going to do the same thing. You can always pinch and curl like this if you want it to fit better inside the grommet hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You want to grab one of your pieces, place it inside like this, and then the grommet will stop it. And then you'll be able to bend this in order to stick the other piece inside the top there, just like that. Your grommet fits against the top and bottom over here to give a clean edge. Then what you do is you play with your straw in order to make it curve like that, but then as straight as you can from the front. Let's do the other ones. Because of these little grommets touch the base, you don't even need to glue these. They'll stay in place on their own. Once it's inserted, then you take your thumb or your finger and you press it outward to create that curve that you have over here. This looks pretty cool. Now let's do it on the other panel. We have our left and right closet little pipes there. Your cup hooks, you need 8 of them. Now we can grab our hooks, place them in the holes and twist them. And then when they start reaching the edge over here, bend it down and push it in. It's okay if it sticks out. What we want is the tip of the cup holder to be touching against the grommet here. And you want it to be aligned in a straight line like this. It doesn't matter if it's loose. Later we're going to be putting hot glue and placing our long straw on top to hide the metal part. And there you have it. Same thing on the other. Now we're going to paint this with our white. Start underneath over here. Try not to put any white paint on the grommet. If you do get some white on the grommet, you could retouch that with black later on. You might have to do 2 coats. Try to go as clean as you can. This is what we want, a nice white paint like this. Do the others. There we go. My 4 pipes are done. Now I'm just going to come back with the black and fix this once the paint is dry. If I put black right away, it's going to turn into a gray mess. So you want to make sure that the paint is dry before you start touching up the grommets. Let's do this one now. That's pretty much it. Now there's lots of fixing to do on the grommets, all those white spots there. We'll concentrate on the top straws while this is drying. Now the long straws bend along the top here. But we want to push them down a little lower so they hide the metal parts of the cup hooks over there. What we want to do is on your straw, where you have your cup hooks over here, we're going to be cutting a little V in the straw like this, so that when you bring the straw down, it'll go like this at the top. Now remember, your left piece is the one with the 0.5 centimeter gap on here. The side in the center is where you're going to align your straw. It'll stick out a little bit over here, and that's fine. So what you want to do is press it against the walls so that it has a nice curve like this. And you want to bring it down to touch little cup holders there. Make a little snippet here. Move across, a little snippet. When you rotate your straw, you'll be able to find the little snippet that you made over here. So then you can exaggerate it by putting a V on it like this. Now, once you have the first one, make sure that you do the same thing on the bottom of each one. You don't want to make a V here, and then a V at the top, and then a V in the front. Do a dry run. Do you see how it fits over like that? If it doesn't fit properly, you can make the V wider. Make sure your hooks are still all in the right place. A small dot of hot glue on each screw there. Now we can take our straw and place it over. Then let this fall inside the grooves like that and along your wall there. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to give the illusion that there's a pipe along the top there. Whatever's sticking out, you can trim that. Let the glue settle a little bit. We can work on the other side. The only thing you don't want to do is cut all the way across. You want to keep your pipes in one piece. Just like that. This one sticks out a little bit. Grab your white paint, clean brush, and go over the black. Try not to go onto your decals if you can. Now, if you wanted, you could paint the inside of your pipe white as well. I'm going to do the other one, and then we'll come and fix the grommets there. This one's better. It's much more fine. It'll be easier not to make a mess back onto the white. We just want to remove the big white blotches that are evident. Okay, that looks good on that level. Now upside down, behind, do you see it? Okay, our left and right walls are done. We have the straws, we have the cup holders, we have all the decals and the 3 panels. Put this aside and let's start the front frame. Left, center, and right pieces. And of course the floor. If we look at page 8, you'll notice that the sides over here align on the outside of the floor, flush at the bottom. So let's start with the left door frame over here. Hot glue just on the side. Don't put it on the angle over here. Align this. You want it flush here and flush at the bottom. You could lay it on your table surface. Now our door frame angle left is going to go here. Align at the angle like this and pressing against the corner there. Just like that. A little bit of glue. Don't put any glue here. Touch some of the glue there to put it on the side there. Then you're going to bring it together just like that. Flush at the bottom. Now, once you press this together, they should align flush perfectly here. Take a little piece of Scotch tape just so that it touches here. And in the back, we're going to put a few drops of hot glue to cement this in place so that it doesn't pop off. So let that cool down and we'll be ready for the other side. Door frame right, same thing here. Wipe off any snots that you see. Now we attach this angle piece. Very important not to put any glue there. A little bit of glue just in that little spot. Push it against the corner. You should still have a 0.5 centimeter gap over here. And you want it flush at the bottom so that it lines up flush at the top. Make sure you have a nice connection with the tape. Just some little drops. Now, when you have big globs like this, it takes longer to cool down and it's very, very hot. If you touch it, you will burn yourself. So just let it do its magic and cool down on its own. Let's put this down and then we can move to the ceiling frame top. So looking at the blueprint, you can see that the closet frame top here lays directly on top of the left and right frames there. And your ceiling angle here should match up exactly with the door frames we just constructed. So let's start with this side. A little bit of glue. Then we align this flush here and flush on the sides there. If you have any spider webs, you can remove that before you apply the decals for sure. You don't want to have any bumps. Now we're going to apply this side. Lift this, a little bit of glue there. Bring it down. Flush here in a straight line. Flush with the back here. And aligned perfectly with your two pieces here. This is what our front frame looks like. Now we're going to apply the outer frame like this. You're going to align the bottom here with the bottom of your triple deck. When you're going to look at it from the front, there's a 0.5 centimeter gap here on each side, which is normal. When you're going to be pressing your closet along to the main room, your front over here leans on that floor. Start applying the glue here first. Then I'm going to bring this, align it, flush here. Flush on the sides. It's normal that there's a 0.5 centimeter gap here at the top as well because your ceiling piece is going to come and lay on top of this and that piece will become flush with the front of the frame. For now, just put some pressure until the glue dries. Then we can lift this up, put a bit of glue on the thickness and let it fall down and then this will be secure and flush all the way through. So your bottom here aligns with the top thickness over here, not at the bottom. You want this gap here. Now let's do the other side. Couple of drops. Let it fall down. Make sure it's flush. Remove any snots and then keep some pressure here. Your frame looks like this now. From the top, in the back. Now we can apply the decal skins. Now the skin that we have here aligns with the outside over here. And on the other side, these little tabs that we cut will go and glue themselves onto here. Decal side out, we want to do our Sharpie technique to have black edges over here. Here it doesn't matter because it'll be hidden. I'm going to put a little bit of glue stick over here. Put some glue stick here too so you can manipulate that if you need to. Peel. Align this in the corner and it should fit with the other corner over here. Bring it center out, center out, center out. You could use your scrap piece of Foamcore to reach the corners. Now just start bending just like this, a few at a time, from the center towards the outside. And that's your ceiling. From the back, this is what we're going to see. If your fingers are sticky from the glue stick, wash your hands now. Don't put any glue stick on your decals. Now we are going to connect our walls. Start with the left side. Your little 0.5 centimeter thickness of your Foamcore here will fit inside this groove. And then the rest of the bottom box will align perfectly with your sides here. Just like that. We don't want to put any hot glue here, only on these four. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here and inside the little gap. Just like that. Now press this here. Now you're going to put a lot of pressure in here so that it fits nice and tight and snug in the corner there. You want this here to be flush all the way around. Use your index here with your palm. Press that together and then press here to make sure that it's nice and flush. See how your little piece here connects with this left angle template over here? We want to do the same thing on this side. It has a tendency to be moving this way when you want to align the corner here with this corner. We're going to put some hot glue from here all the way to there. Don't put any on these 3 layers. Then we're going to be pulling this and pressing it against the edge here so that you get a flush corner. So just a little drop. Then we're going to come here in the front And you're going to align this and press it in place. Keep some pressure on for a minute or two. If you want to feel safe, you could put some more hot glue over here. So now we have half a closet with the front frame. This is what it looks like from the top, from the bottom. Now we're going to fit the right side. Even though the rear of the front ceiling over here is hidden, we're still going to be applying a strip just to make it nice and clean. Before we attach the right side of the wall and then don't have as much access to the rear here, it's the perfect time to apply your ceiling skin. So with the Sharpie, we're just going to go and do a black line all the way around each side. Peel. There's a nice gap here in order for you to be able to slip this through. So we're just going to pull it till it's flush like that. Align it flush at the bottom and at the top. Then from the center, bring it in and then bring it to the left side. Again, when you look at it from the front, you'll never see it, but at least you'll know it's there. Who knows, maybe in your diorama you only want to use one half of the closet like this and have the characters exposed with the door closed here. There's lots of possibilities. Let's attach our right wall now. It's the same principle. Here's your 0.5 centimeter gap that fits right in here. So a little bit of glue inside this little gap there. Then here, along here, a few drops. Leave the center bare for now. Insert like this. And then make sure it's flush. And then press here. If there's any snots, wipe them off. Once the glue is hardened, we can come and fit the centerpiece over here. So a few drops of hot glue here. Remember, this is your bottom. Place it like so. You want it flush over here and equal distance on both sides. Remove any snots. You want a smooth, even surface on your floor so that it'll lay flat on top of your table surface. Don't worry about these gaps for now and that this is loose. We're going to fix that later. Do you see the flush connection here? This poster board is going to go here. It's going to fit with this fold and it arrives flush over here on this side. When you put your skin here, it's going to go one smooth section and one smooth section here. You're not going to have this little speed bump here. So we want to take our poster board and we want to just place some black Sharpie on the sides. We want to hide any white from the decal that might be exposed. Do the same thing all around on your other piece. So I have the right side here. Apply some glue stick. Then I'm going to slide it in. Align it with the wall. Flush over here on the floor. And it'll arrive flush with your ceiling over here. Press it at the edge. Don't push too hard because there is a crease under here. Your glue stick takes a little longer to dry than your hot glue. So be patient before we put the decals over here. Now we want to do the same thing over here using the left angle. Your two sides are in position. Now while the glue stick takes its time to harden a little bit, let's wrap the skin around these open door spines. These are the decals that wrap around our little Foamcore matchsticks here. As usual, I want to remove the white over here, so I'm going to use my Sharpie decal facing outward, just like that. Now these two lines on each side of these little rectangles are your folding lines. So you could start by folding that, do a soft fold like we usually do for all the decals. You'll start seeing that it follows the line. Then you could start pinching stronger to give you a nice fold. The fold on this side will just wrap it once we place it on this. Same thing on the other side now. Gentle fold, bend it along the line, and then start pressing across. You see how we have a nice 90 degrees on each side, and then these will overlap to make sure that it's nice and secure in the rear. Both pieces are identical, so left-right doesn't really matter. There we go. Peel, put a bit of glue stick just on the front. Then we're going to place it along the fold that we just did. And it should be flush over here, and it should match exactly on the other end. Because we put the glue stick, we can manipulate this left and right if we wanted to. What I want to do is make sure that my two black lines are fitting exactly on the sides of my shape. So now I can press down here. I want to pull as I fold over. Use your finger here as a support. Your skin should line up with the rear over here. Make sure it's nice and flat on the side, that you have no bubbles. Wrap it from the center. Just bring it down like this. Let it fall on the rear. Rub all four sides together all the way around. So here's your door illusion that will be placed here. See, it gives the illusion that the door opened. There's just a little section of it sticking out. So it's three-dimensional instead of just a flat sticker. But don't put it in place yet because we have to do these stickers first. Let's move on to the second one. We now have our two skins. Let's go back here. Do you notice this little 0.5 centimeter gap here? That coincides with this. So this will be your side and this will be your folded side. Now, does this look familiar? That's because if you want to leave just a flat decal like this, you can. If you want to give a true 3D effect to your door frame, our little extruder that we just built goes on top here. We want black all the way across on every side. Might as well do this side too since we're at it. Now the center line over here is your folding guide. So I'm just going to slightly bend like this and then keep going all the way across. And then I'll start pressing slowly on each side. And as you pull and press, it should line up with your inside line, and it does. This fold is where it's going to align with this over here. So I just want to apply some glue stick, mostly on the thickness of the foam core over here. This is the side we're going to use. Peel. You're going to want to stick this behind your curve here so that it doesn't get folded. Then we're going to bring this corner over here. And I'm going to make my finger go across here. This stays up a little bit, and then as you bring it down, it should line up over here. Use your scrap to press until you reach the gap there in the center. Then you can press flat all the way in the front here, making sure you have a nice flush connection. You have a nice flush connection at the bottom, and you have a nice flush connection over here at the top. Start at the center, go upwards like this, press here, move up. If there's a little crease, use your nail, press here, move up. Then at the top, you're going to press until you can't go higher. And then you're going to bring your little flap against the thickness of the foam core here. Use your foam core scrap to flatten that. If you have a little bit that sticks out, use your finger to fold it over. Let's do the same thing on this side. So this is what your front looks like now. Editing Frank here. After the 5 months or so that it's been taking me since I've been doing this edit, I've noticed by inserting and removing the door, the edges here started frailing and cutting off, if you want to say. So I designed this bonus page 14, which includes 2 wraparounds for the front and 1 for the top over here. Now you don't need to apply these, but it'll help fix this issue down the road by applying here and onto the side. This is before, and here's the after. Now we're just going to do what we usually do, which is just cut around the edges on all 3 pieces. Just like this. Try not to leave any white along the circle part here. Sharpie, decal pointing outwards. For this one, we do only on the outer sides. Don't do the inner circle here. This identifies your bottom. This is your corner fold. This is what we want. If you inserted these 3D panel strips, remove them. See here? So if you do a dry run, your piece will now cover it like this, and you'll have a clean edge that will never separate because it's one decal. Fold this one too. Here's our 3 folded pieces. Now before I apply them, I want to use some glue sticks so that I'll be able to manipulate it. If you put a decal over a decal and it's wrong, you'll never get it off. You're going to rip them both and have a huge disaster. So along here and on the sides. Don't put any glue stick on the top here. Peel, again this at the bottom, and you want to align the top here with your top line there. Now we can fold this carefully. Grab a piece of a scrap foam core. Make sure that it's a nice 90-degree application there. Now, do you see the difference between this side and the original over here? See the huge difference? So let's do the same on this and the top. Fold over the first, align it over here, then center, bring it out. Center out. Now you have a perfect corner over here with no folds exposed. Your closet now is completed and has a final finish. All that's left is for you to put the hockey puck light on the ceiling. Now you can leave it like this if you want, or we can apply your little strip here, place it inside, align it with your groove. Here's the difference between an actual 3D sticking out and the flat illusion over here. I'm going to grab my other piece. Same thing over here. Now the front of our closet is done. Now if you're going to be closing it with the door, you can just jump to the frame section over here. You don't need to build all the interiors because you won't be seeing that. Okay, let's build our closed door option. Flip it upside down like this. I'm going to do my Sharpie all the way around, or scoring guide, a little bit of glue stick, just in case I have to manipulate it. Peel, align on the corner like this. Let it fall in the center, center outwards, like that. Now we have our scoring guide in the back and our decal in the front. So what we're going to do now is score the back. You want your blade extended, and you're going to keep it low to the ground so that the point here doesn't poke all the way through to the bottom. You want to stop so that the paper that's on the other side of the foam core remains intact. You can always practice on scrap foam core until you feel comfortable with your decal. I see that I don't have any cuts all the way through, which is good. If you did have some, you could put Scotch tape to reconnect it, but then you'd have to recover your door with another decal. Now you want to do the Kit Kat split there on all your pieces. This is where you're going to see if there's any recuts that need to be done. You don't want to bend it too far so that you're going to rip it, because we're actually going to be folding this inward after, not outward like this. But you still want to pop the cracks first. If I look at page 11 of the blueprints, you could see that the supports are attached to the insides of your side supports. A little bit of hot glue, align it flush at the top and flush at the bottom. So keep that in place for a couple of seconds until the hot glue cools down. If there's any snots, you know the drill. Okay, let's put some on the other side. Take your support, attach it like this. Flush here, flush there. Hold it in place a minute or so. You could even put it on your table if you want while it cools down. Grab another one, put some hot glue, pick a side, doesn't matter. Attach it like we did on the other end. Hot glue along the edge there. Now lift this and bring it forward in place. Flush in the front here and at the top. Let it cool down a minute or so. Place a last one around the center. A little hot glue here, a little hot glue there. And we're just going to let it fall like this. The important thing is that it's centered over here. Just like that. Let's put this aside to rest and let's work on our door. So we want to bend it this way without snapping it. So we're going to start giving a bit of memory. Lay it against the table. We're going to slowly press with your hands. You're just lifting it like this. You could even use a masking tape to start giving it a memory. Eventually it'll start to bend. When your frame is sturdy enough, if you align it flush over here, once you bend it, it'll arrive flush on this side as well. If we look at page 11 of our blueprint, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be taking the scored door and we're going to be aligning it with the door support and bending it all the way around like this. I am ready to apply some glue and then a little bit on the 3 sides over here. Now I'm going to align my door frame over here just like this. Make sure that it's flush at the top over here and at the bottom. You want to keep some pressure, including the little zone that you did, just like that. You could even press it against the table if you wish. Let this cool down for a minute or two. This is crucial because when you're going to be wrapping the door to the other side, if it hasn't dried properly, it's going to pop off. Carefully lift this back a little bit and we're going to put some glue on the center over here on all 3 pieces. Now I'm going to put this upside down and I'm going to bring it towards the center like this. Make sure that it stays flush on the outside and on the other end. Here it's sticking out a little bit. I want to adjust this like that. Keep pressure on it for a couple of minutes. You know the drill. Last is along this thickness. Lift this back. Not too much because I don't want to rip this over here. Put some glue on the spines first and then all the way across here. Bring it down on the table, pressing down here so that it connects 100%. Flush here, flush there as well. We can now encase the closed door by putting this support spine in the back, which aligns perfectly with your end supports over here. So let's put some glue on the 3. We don't need any really on the sides. Align it flush over here and flush at the bottom. There we go. We have our closed door option. Now the bottom of your door is where you have these little panels. These panels on the door match the ones on the sides over here. So if you want to have a closed closet, you just stick your door in between over here and the sides of the door will be stopped by the little 3D supports that we added. So in your diorama, you have the option of having it open or closed, just like in the movie. The only problem in my design when you close the door is that to pop it open, you have to put your hand inside the roof here and push it out like this. Then you can pull it and have the inside of your closet. So open, close, it's up to you. That's the fun part of this design. Now's a good time to wrap our straws. We don't want any Sharpie for this part. Peel, lay it on your table, then take your straw over here, try to align it flush, press it down over here. Do you see how it attaches in a straight line over here? Just like if it was a flag. Now we're going to lean it against the table and we're just going to roll it till it comes and touches itself in the back there. Squeeze it a little bit. We have 1 straw and we need to cut it where the decal stops. And this is what we need. Do the same on these 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 2 positions of the straws in the front. One is right here, aligned against this and in front of your straw over here. There's your 2 center straws. So first a little bit over here. Place a little bit at the bottom there, all the way around. Find my seam, put it in the back. I want to align over here on the floor and then press it against the top of the straw there. You don't need much contact because you're not going to be playing around with these. If you go and place your figures in and out, you're not going to really be hooking onto this. So there's the first straw. Now we're going to do the same thing right over here. So there's our 2 straws and how they look in the front like that. We're going to be placing your ceiling over here. Do a dry run. Make sure that these pieces fit on the outside and snug, and they do. See how these will close against the ceiling edge. Hot glue. Smush it around. Place it with the strips on the outside there and flush in the front as much as I can. Press this down. Now we're going to put some glue on these 2 pieces of the octagon. Lower this and press it tight. Be careful of the little pokey things here from the cups there. Put some pressure on this until the glue cools down. Remove any snot that you see. Now we need to do the same thing here to be able to attach these two. Take the advantage of the hole in the center there to be able to pinch the two pieces together as tight as you can. I should be able to press this. You're going to see that it's going to be a tight squeeze because the angles of your top panel here want to wrestle with the top of the centerpiece. You're going to be squeezing this inside as hard as you can to try to get the top here to glue to this piece, just like this. So we're going to put some hot glue on the thickness of the Foamcore here and on each side of this top panel, but only in the top corner here. Don't put any past the center line. You just want a little bit on the top so that it makes contact over here with the top panel. So a little glue here in the corner, then all along over here. Put your hand in the front and then you're going to bring this touching at the top. Let that cool off for at least 2 minutes. So now all of our pieces are solidly in contact with the ceiling. Now if I place the closet like this, you could really see those gaps in the back there. Now when I place the curtain, you can't even see that there's gaps. Before we do that, let's place our last straws. Each straw goes in between these two panels to hide the gap there. Put a small dot of glue on each side here to keep it in position at the top. A little bit of glue at the bottom here. Now I'm going to drop it over here, the seam in the back. Put it in place and then drop it against the rear, right underneath the top there. That helps it keep it in place as well. So there you have it. That's what it looks like. Now we just need to do the last one, just like that. There's your two center straws. So we want to take our rear closet center and we want to place it on a piece of poster board. Again, these are folding guides. We want to cut only outside the edges over here. We want to put some Sharpie to darken the thickness of the poster board. Now these are our folding guides. Now flip it this way. Here's our scoring guide. Now we bring this over here. There's the folding guides there. Use the back of your blade again. Don't put too much pressure and just go across. You want to create a folding memory. Now we can press and it folds exactly along the guide and gives you a nice clean angle. Same thing here. Just let it go down. You don't have to do much. This is what we want for a rear curtain. Now we can apply our rear closet here. We're going to put one line over here, one line in the center, and then one line outside of this one. Smush it around, smush, smush, smush. Align this in the center, press it along the edges like that. So if I move my hand like this, you don't see any hand anymore. Now let's just do our little light up ceiling. Now if you're going to want to put a light up ceiling, you'll also need in the materials some white foam core, the decals, and a LED strip or any lighting that you want to put in the center of your closet top there. I also forgot that we need a piece of tracing paper to diffuse the light. Center out, just like that. Okay, that's done. I'm actually going to cut the circle first because I have more material around it before I cut it off. It'll make it less fragile. I'm going to start over here, poke my way inside and go along slowly, turn, poke it out, cut this along the outside edges. There we go. This is our LED base. This is the top cap of the ceiling. I'm going to use my outer cutting guide technique for this, where you follow the circle until your wrist starts not being able to bend anymore. Then you spin your circle, then you go back, and then you cut again. If you want it perfect, you could always rub it against the table like this. That's how you get a nice clean circle. Since we're in cutting mode, I might as well score all my lines here where you don't want to go all the way through. So don't press too hard. This is good practice for your scoring technique when you need to go more precise on more critical pieces. Nothing torn on the other side. If it had been, we could have put Scotch tape and it wouldn't matter because there's no decal on this side applied. Now we want to just separate these like Kit Kats. Just pop them open. Now we have a nice foldable foam core. I'm just going to cut this. Let's apply some glue stick all around the outside. Make sure not to put any on the inside. You don't want to make a mess. Now I'm going to take my octagon and I'm just going to let it fall onto the paper. Then I'm going to put some pressure all the way around. I'm going to let that dry a little bit. What I want the most is this to be flat with no creases so that the diffused light will be even inside the closet. Now would be a good time to trim on the outside edges. There. So this is the side that you have the tracing paper. You're going to flip it upside down, which is your black ring. Yours will say top over here. What we want to do now is glue this ring all around the edge over here. We don't want any glue falling into here. That would be bad. I'm just going to smoosh some glue along the outer edge. Then we're going to start with one of the tips there. Make it as flush as you can with the inner thickness of the foam core ring. Once that's dry, pull this away a little bit more smushy foam core, just like this. So smush, 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 lift it, and then bring it towards the center. So this gap here is normal. It's where your wires are going to go in and out from. So our tracing paper is on the outside. We have our elevation and our lid is going to come like this. And then all the reflections is going to shine through here and it should light up the closet really nicely. I'm going to be placing it as low as I can, just where the connection starts of the 2 centimeters there. Okay, so I have my LED strip all the way around, and then it comes out here. I have my power supply, and then I have my connection for future diorama extension. I am now going to cut this little wax paper off. Take 2 little drops of glue on each side. Align this center, just like that. So this is our little light extension, okay? And from here to here is 3 centimeters, which is the exact height of all of the basic strip connectors. So you'll be able to match with anything that's in the Mega Death Star project. You just need to place your light like this. We don't even need to glue it really, because the weight of it is keeping it down. And also, by allowing us to remove the top, we have access here to push the door out to pop it out. Okay, let's see if it lights up. Yes, it does. If you wanted it less bright, 3 extra layers of tracing paper. That looks cool too. It diffuses it a little more. So you have the options. You could put as many layers of tracing paper as you want. Now this is more what you see in real life. And there you have it. The closet is a really cool design and it's a really cool addition. It looks bigger actually. Darth Revenge was telling me when he was building his, on the video and on the photos, it looked much larger than when he built it and he was like teeny tiny. Anyway, I think you're going to have a lot of fun for this. This is an accessory that you will be needing for your red control room. It's going to make the room movie accurate. You could always use the closet. God, I have the hiccups again. You could always use the closet in any other room of your dioramas. And what's really cool about the Mega Death Star design is that it's like Lego. You could build any of the designs that I created and you could place them in any order. Darth Revenge is making the coolest docking bay, multi-stacked room mixing with all of the things that I already did. It's really cool to see how someone's using my artwork and interpreting his own design within the design that I created in order to make something that fits the space that he has at home, which might not be necessarily what I have. Oh, sorry, I just hit my microphone. So I know that space is one of the major things that people don't have at home. So it doesn't mean that you will necessarily have the wall space that I have for my own Mega Death Star project that you will have, but you can always like scale down and different things like that. And there's some rooms that some people just won't want to make. You just want to concentrate on some of the more iconic rooms and different things, which is cool. And that's what's fun about the art of dioramas and the Mega Death Star project. I think that's pretty much it for now. It is what? It is 4:30 in the morning. I think it's time for me to go to bed. Frank DiOrio, dioramaworkshop.com. Ciao for now. Bye. Thanks for watching my Diorama Workshop YouTube channel. If you have a question or want to submit your diorama photos for the visitors gallery, send me an email at dioramaworkshop.com@gmail.com. You can also follow me on my social media platforms. Links are in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe if you haven't already, leave a like, and make sure to share to your friends and family so they can check it out. For more diorama fun, visit dioramaworkshop.com today.